All right, Shiraz, a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Devang from the Financial Analyst, and I welcome you to this segment in which we talk about the market outlook and strategy for tomorrow, which is 28th of June 2021, a Monday. So, first of all, good news, I'm back now. I'll be recording these 15-20 minutes videos every single day after the markets close, or maybe in the night 8 o'clock, so that everyone can, as before the 3 week hiatus I took, I'll make sure I'll try to do my best to help you with the markets and interpret and comprehend them in a very simple and easy way. The second thing is I'm extremely sorry that I wasn't available for the last couple of days. If I have not answered your messages, it's because I was in Himachal Pradesh, to be more specific in Bir Billing, the valley of Bir and the hills of Billing, and had a wonderful experience. I was out in Himachal for the last 5 to 6 days. Great if you want recommendations. I think it's a great way to spend a weekend with your family, with your friends. Markets are always so stressing, and you always need something for a timeout. And I think this was a perfect opportunity for me. And less tourism, which makes it a less encroachment place, and less people means more picturesque views of the scenery around you, the mountains, the valleys, the hills, etc. And the best part was, one day we stayed in a homestay, a very comfortable place, and the other day we stayed in the high altitude tents. That was another very good experience in the in between the nature. And I also was able to overcome my the fear I had for paragliding. So Bir Billing, this is known for in India. It's known, or in Asia actually, it's known for its highest drop in paragliding. And a lot of world championships happen here. So I was very scared. It's a 2,400-meter drop right into the valley of Bir, but beautiful experience. I'll try to put up a video on my Instagram. So if you haven't followed me yet, make sure you do that. Instagram.com/Devang Mehra. But I had a wonderful time. And if I haven't replied to your messages, please, you can message me right now if you have any doubts or anything that you message me for, and I'll get back to you. And let's try to increase the reach of these videos. If you enjoy these videos, please like, share, comment, subscribe. That'll mean a lot to me. Let's start with the market outlook, Monday 2021, 28th of June. What do we have in store for us today? Let's rewind a little bit from Thursday. Thursday, we had the Reliance AGM, the monthly expiry, a lot of things, a lot of explosive events happening, and markets were quite volatile on that day. And a lot of speculation coming in, what can happen in the Reliance front. Some people were expecting Mukesh Ambaniji's health not going to be doing well. Maybe that's the announcement you're looking for. Some people were expecting something to do with Aramco, and eventually the latter turned out to be true. So the chairman of Aramco has been inducted or appointed, I would say, in the proper terms, as the independent director of Reliance. So that was a very good news. But eventually, Reliance has already run up a lot. And that's, if you all try to understand the markets, they're very simple. Just how before the results, for example, the IT companies, they always run up before the results. And when the results come in, absolutely beautiful results, they always fall down after that. So something like that happened to Reliance. It has already run up from 1960 all the way till 2260. A good 200 to 50 point movement already happened when the news came out. Reliance, already saw some sort of profit booking coming in. So that was one thing. And I personally don't trade Reliance, but eventually Reliance does have an impact on the Nifty index because it has a good 10 to 15% weightage on the Nifty index. But on the same lines, on 24th, the Reliance did tumble down 2-3%. But the good news was something always helps Nifty stabilize. This will happen. Make sure you keep this point in mind. No matter if the index is going up or no matter if the index is going down, something or the other will always be up or something or the other will always be down. You can't have all the sectors going down or all the sectors going up. There will always be some sector which moves in the opposite direction. You just have to try to find that sector. And that day was all about Nifty IT. And you already all have been in Nifty IT. We bought it at 27,110 and it's already gone up 2,000 points from the moment we have bought it on. So if you aren't on our Telegram channel, make sure you join that. It's TFA Investments on Telegram, or you can search the Financial Analyst and you'll come to our Telegram channel. So we've been making great money on the IT sector. And I hope you're already sitting with us in these beautiful gains. Infosys, TCS, every day hitting good lifetime highs, Emphasis, and all those names you're very aware of. But that day was all about Nifty IT. I think Nifty IT on 24th of June went up 2.7%, which helped Nifty stabilize. Nifty didn't go up or down a lot, but Nifty stabilized. The fall in Reliance was conquered by the stable view on Bank Nifty and the gains in Nifty IT. The same thing happened even on Friday. On Friday. So why did Nifty IT go? It is because of Accenture. So Accenture posted really good earnings. It always comes up with the earnings. One of the first companies to do so, and Accenture posted a quarterly earnings of 21% growth to $13.3 billion. I think it's a wonderful earnings, and the IT sector took very good indication from that, because eventually most of the business of IT companies is based in America. They earn in dollar terms. You're already aware of that. And because of really good earnings from its peers, the IT companies took that as a good advantage, good indication, and the IT companies have been soaring ever since. So the revenue grew 21% in the third quarter to 13.3 billion. You also saw the new bookings coming in at 15.4 billion, and 39% increase from the year earlier. So it's a good earnings. Full year growth expected to be 10 to 11% local currency terms, and I think it's wonderful from 6.5 to 8.5%. It's a good momentum that we see coming in the IT companies. So ever since the Accenture results have come out, the IT companies have been soaring ever since. So I think I will still maintain my view on IT, be bullish on IT. I'm not saying buy IT right now. If you get dips into IT, try to buy it. I think before the results come out, we can still hold IT. Most of the time, what happens is when the results come out of the IT companies, then the IT companies see some profit booking, because people like us who've already bought at 27,000 levels, we will try to book some profits after 1 month when the results are coming out. So we'll see what to do in 10 to 15 days when the quarter one earnings comes out. But as of now, I do not see any panic or any reason to book entire positions in IT sector, is all I'm trying to say. That was about IT. Also on Friday, it was all about the inflation data in America. And, like in India, you have CPI, WPI. Even in America, you have the CPI and you have also the CPE. So, the dollar was very, very steady after the US inflation data missed estimates. So everyone has been concerned about the inflation data. Everyone knows inflation is a very big demon in the world markets right now. But the personal consumption expenditure, the inflation, you can compare it with CPI, that only increased 0.5%, which was the below economists estimates of 0.6%. So weaker than expected increase, which is a good thing for the markets. That is why dollar remains steady. If dollar remains steady, or if dollar goes down, the emerging markets come up, the American markets come up. At the same time, the commodities like metals, they will also come up. That's why you've been seeing how the metal sector has been doing very, very well. The only reason for that is because the dollar has been consolidating, or the dollar has been going down. And because of the inflation in America missing the estimates, weaker than estimates, you saw how the dollar was subdued. Dollar didn't move a lot. Dollar didn't move at all. If I show you the dollar index, it was flat. It was exactly flat where it opened. It's because of this data. And that's why you can see the metals on Friday, it went about 4%. Sorry, it went about 2-3%. What am I saying? So metals on Friday, it went up, 2.5%. Tata Steel went up 4%. So that is how you can try to correlate everything. So that is one good news that came in. Now, first I'm going to talk about all these macroeconomic events. Then we'll come to the technicals. I hope you enjoy slowly as we progressing. We don't always start with technicals. Let us start with a global outlook, what is going on in the world markets, and then try to come to India so that we can try to correlate everything. Because eventually all the markets move in the same direction. They are related, what we call inter-market relationships. We have to talk about commodities. We have to talk about dollar, bonds, stocks, and try to correlate them and then try to form a view. That was about dollar. And also in UK, the European markets, if I look at the European stocks, even the European stock 600, basically what is stock 600? This is the top 600 companies in Europe. We take 17 countries into consideration. The mid, small, large cap, the companies in the top 17 countries in Europe is incorporated into stocks. So stocks was flat, and I think the reason why stocks was flat is because Credit Suisse and UBS, the Swiss banks, the Swiss investment banks, they are looking for some kind of merger. Now this is around the block. I don't know how true it is, because UBS and Credit Suisse have not commented yet, but a lot of people are speculating. People familiar with the matter are speculating that after the Archegos scandal, and you saw how much money was lost by all these investment banks, Nomura, etc. So maybe after the Archegos scandal, the Credit Suisse and UBS are looking for some kind of merger. You saw Credit Suisse up about 1.5% in Switzerland. So the financials, the banking sector did help. Like in India on Friday, it also helped the stocks to be elevated. The reason why stocks was up was because of your banks and financials, and I would say owing to the Credit Suisse rumors that have been out there. Now let's see how that turns out to be, but surely something that I would like to ponder upon in the coming days. And if I get some guidance on this news, I would surely like to see how the banking and financial performs in Europe, and then we can always correlate it back to India and America as well. So that are some things that happened last week. And overall, Indian markets, if I look at the Indian markets, the volatility index has been down. I think this is the lowest closing that we've seen on the VIX ever since the pandemic. Ever since the 4th of March, it's the lowest closing that you've seen, 13.367. And these kind of closings are not possible in a bear market. They're only possible in a bull market. Doesn't mean markets are bullish, but it just means that the bull market is going on. India is a bull market, and these figures tell us that people are sitting in comfortable positions. Not much panic is there. And I would say that is also owing because of COVID. The COVID cases are coming down below 50,000. That's a very, very big thing. And in May, just about 1.5 months back, they were around 3 to 4 lakh per day. And now they're sitting at 50,000. So I would say COVID guidance about that would also be something that the markets would like to surely comment upon. Any surge in the cases would be something not appreciated by the markets. But right now, I think very comfortable situation. There is some Delta variant that is hovering in Delhi or some other states. Let's see what goes on, but let's always stay hopeful. And I hope that this pandemic, this virus mitigates soon enough, and we are free. We can travel. We can always roam around very freely in our cities. But the lowering of the COVID cases is something that the markets are really appreciating. So I would say because of that, the VIX has been down. Not much volatility being seen in the market, and you can see how every single dip in the markets being bought into. Now, what are the events that are happening this week? Let's talk about that for a little bit, because it's the first week of July. Let me tell you, the July expiry is going to be a 5-week expiry. It's a very good thing if you know how to take advantage of that. 5 weeks, you can always play in the monthly expiry. You have a lot of time. And always remember, if you have a lot of time in options, if you play in the money, you can always make some money out of it. We always default in options when we play same week expiries or when we play out the money. But if you give yourself time into options, and if you give yourself the premium into options, you can always be profitable, I would say. Just be safe. Play it like equity, play it like a futures contract. And if you're in the right direction, even for a little bit of time, you can always be safe when you're playing far expiries and when you're playing in the money. So 5-week expiry is something we should keep in your mind. You also have the IIP data that's coming out, the industrial production data. The outlook for all the sectors are going to come out this week. That is something we will surely watch. Any expansion, any increase in the numbers, any growth in the output of the sectors, that will be taken as a very big positive. So make sure you tune into that. That's number one. Number two is the June auto sales data. That is something very, very interesting. You saw how I want to throw some light into the auto sector right now, because that is something which has been booming. I would say thanks to Maruti. If you see the charts of Maruti, in the last couple of days, Maruti has already run up from 6,900 levels all the way till 7,600 levels. Absolutely stunning rally we've seen in auto sector. I would say majorly owing to Maruti. And on the 1st of July, so every 1st of the month is the auto sales data of the previous month. That's going to be released. So 1st and 2nd of the month, all the auto companies comes out with their sales data. Now the question is it going to be good or not? Because in May, the situation was very, very bad. The COVID lockdown was there. So most of the factories were shut. A lot of the factories diverted production of cars into production of oxygen. You saw how Maruti did that. But now this is the auto sales data of June. Now we have to see, is this data going to be good or not? I would say even if this data is good, people are expecting it to be good, because now the lockdown is not in place. Only some parts of the country is in place, but people are expecting it to be good. But I don't think it does matter a lot, because even if this data is good, it's a good thing for the markets. But I would say it's already, companies like Maruti have already run up. And on these kind of news, so people buy the rumor, they sell the news. So even when the news comes out, people will try to book the profit. But again, it's a very good macroeconomic indicator. Might not be very helpful for intraday trading, right? But it's a very good macroeconomic indicator. Good auto sales data means that recovery is coming in. More sales means more people have the power to spend. So that's a very, very good indicator for our economy. People are now spending. And you can already see how the unemployment is coming down. And which brings me to the next thing. So the 1st of July, which is Thursday, which is also the first expiry of the month, is going to be the day to track auto sales, any poor data. So if always try to compare yourself with the estimations. So I think all the big news channels, they come up with their estimates, all the big banks, big brokers. So try to compare yourself with estimates. So for example, if I am expecting 100 vehicles to be sold in Mahindra, I'm giving you an example. And if something like, that's the estimation, and let us say the previous month sales was 80. So if I am doing very, very above the expectation, so if I'm selling like 90, units, that would be taken as non-event. Why? Because I'm doing better, but I'm below estimate. So non-event. But markets will really respect your auto sales data if it comes up like this. Let's say 80 was the previous month sales, 100 was the estimate, and now it's 150. That will be taken as a very good positive, and you can see some knee-jerk reaction. Same is the case on the downside. If 80 is the last month sales, 100 is the estimate, and you sell only 50 units below estimates, below previous month, that can be taken as surprise. Always remember, markets love surprises. So if tomorrow, for example, you have a lockdown in the country, that's a surprise. People are not expecting that. But anything which is as per estimations, anything that can be forecasted and is in line with that forecast is already discounted in the market. The best example is Maruti. So make sure you keep this point in mind when you trade the Thursday expiry, because auto sales data obviously will have a lot of movement. Auto companies will have a lot of movement on Thursday. So you could do some intraday trading, have your risk rewards, but again, it's going to be a very, very big factor when we're deciding the macroeconomic view or the long-term view of the auto sector. That is one thing to keep in mind. The crude oil prices, yeah, that's another very, very important measure, the crude oil prices. You can see how the Brent crude is around 76. That's one of the highest levels you've seen in the recent past. We saw the 76 level a barrel per dollar only around, I would say it came around, so we've already broken out the April 19 levels. We saw these levels only in October 2018. So I could say we are at the 2-month highs in Brent crude. So we are expecting, I'm personally expecting crude maybe moves between 75 to 80 dollars a barrel, and that higher crude oil prices are going to have pressure on the Indian markets. Right now, as I've said earlier, I only see two demons. You have the inflation, and good numbers, weaker numbers in America is a good thing, but let us see what goes on further. Let us await more comments on that to decide our further action. At the same time, Brent crude or crude oil in general is also a very big demon that we see. Higher crude oil price, I've written it up for you. Higher crude oil prices are going to put inflationary pressures, will also have your more pressure on the fiscal deficit on the Indian country. Why? Because India is a net importer of crude oil. So make sure you keep the crude oil in check. Lower prices will help the markets come higher. However, the higher prices are going to keep the market subdued to an extent. That is one thing to keep in mind. Hopefully you understand that. These are some events that are happening. You also have the Q4 earnings. Some few companies are left. You have IRCTC, you have the General Insurance Corporation, Dish TV, Ruchi Soya, Graphite India are the companies. NLC India, Indian Rail Finance Corporation. These are some companies. Hindustan Aeronautics, which will report earnings in this week. But most of the big companies are over. Now we will start Q1 earnings from July, which will kick off with TCS and Infosys around July 3rd week, 14-15 dates, something about that. That will become an event that we talk about later when that comes in. But right now, nothing is to be given attention to. Finally, we have the PMI data coming in. So the PMI is also something very important to track. Purchasing Managers Index. I think the manufacturing PMI comes out on Wednesday. So higher numbers means expansion in the country. That is something to be looked. I think even the services will come out on Thursday, but I'm not sure about the data as of now. But that is something also to be tracked. At the same time, you also have the Thursday, not only the auto sales data, but also Thursday, you have the unemployment, the jobless claims, the weekly claims that come in. That is something to be tracked. Markets have been very kind every Thursday. The jobless claims are coming down and down and down. So let us await for this week's forecast and this week's numbers. At the same time, on Friday, we also have the US non-farm payroll. So every the first Friday of the month is the US non-farm payroll. So that's the unemployment data. That is something that the markets are awaiting. Good numbers, lower unemployment, good thing. Bad numbers is not going to be taken well for the markets. That is something that we have to track in the macroeconomic events in this week. Now let's come back to technicals. So let's start with Nifty. Nifty to start with. See, first of all, Reliance does not look very well. And if Reliance is coming down, it's already down about 5-6% this week. If Reliance keeps on coming down, and if any other sector does not support the market, you can expect markets to be subdued. What I'm trying to say, it'll be very, very clear right now. Nifty is basically right now being supported. If you see the charts, Bank Nifty was one very important sector that supported Nifty. And you saw beautiful gains coming in Bank Nifty. If you remember, our range 34,600, 35,350 has been broken. So if Bank Nifty continues higher, that is going to be taken very well for the markets. Why? Because 40% approximate weight in Bank Nifty is in Nifty. 40% weight of Nifty is in Bank Nifty. So higher Bank Nifty is a must, I would say, if Nifty wants to continue higher. I am personally not expecting Reliance to give some good moves in the market. If it does, great, but not something I'm really looking forward to. So let's expect Reliance stays subdued. If the markets want to come up higher, Bank Nifty is the one that needs to perform. At the same time, you can see auto sector will be in focus, so try to focus on that as well. I'm not going to focus much on FMCG. At the same time, I also feel metals, how I said in the start, how commodities and dollar has a inverse relation. If dollar keeps on going higher, metals could start to be subdued. At the same time, the dollar comes down, metals can rise because commodities will rise. So that is one sector also. So I think IT, metals, and banking was the sectors that have helped Nifty be elevated and overpowered the fall in Reliance. So let us see what happens in this week. I hope you got the idea what I'm trying to portray. Bank Nifty, let's start with Nifty. See, Nifty 15,900 has been a massive level. You have got intraday highs. You have got, I think the highest point is 15,909 or something. You have got intraday highs, but we've never ever been able to close above 15,900. If you ask the open interest view, 16,000 has a massive open interest. Massive call writing is at 16,000. Now that's very, very far away. I'll give you a very simple view, what I think personally. See, if you want to be aggressively bullish, if you want to go for 200-300 point on the upside, you must need a closing on the daily chart above 15,900. You might get an intraday high, but you might fail. So if you want to be bullish for the next couple of days, if you want to touch 16,100 kind of levels, you are required to close for a day or so, for 2 days is ideal, above 15,900. I would say unless until that does not happen, you still have some kind of selling coming in, because a lot of people who are sellers, who are bears, have some kind of stop losses placed over here. That's why whenever the markets come there, they always take a sharp plunge. That is one point to keep in mind. Bank Nifty, on the other hand, has broken out of that range that we specified. You can see how this range of 35,350 has been broken out. It was a very big, massive pain. And you must be remembering how I talked about earlier, how most of the money is lost in a range. And this was very, very brutal. Markets came down and up and down and up. And eventually the range has broken out. Is it a retest? I don't know. That will be seen tomorrow. We can't keep on commenting right now. But right now, all I can tell you from the chart is that the range has been broken out. Is it just a one-day phenomenon? That we will see tomorrow. What I'm trying to say is, how should we go over the markets? Very, very simple for Nifty. Let's go on the intraday chart of Nifty. You can see how Nifty has been sort of building up over here. You can also see some kind of good trend line coming in over here. Now, see, it's very, very important where you open. First of all, again, look at price action, observe price action at 15,900. If you get some rejections here, if you get selling here on 15, 30-minute kind of charts, you can always try to scalp on the short side with a very small stop loss. Now, please remember, markets are all about probability. Low risk, high reward kind of setups. You can never be right 100% in the markets. So always look for low risk, high probability. One of them could be if you get some kind of selling over here, have a 20, 30 point SL, 920, 930 kind of levels and try to go short. If you get that, great. The other possibility is, let's see where it opens. If, for example, markets are opening in this range, in the range of the last build-up that we're seeing, which is coming out to be 850 kind of levels and 870 kind of levels, I think that's a good opening. I don't see anything wrong, because everyone who is a buyer, they will get cost to cost over here. And if the markets in the first, observe 15 minutes, never ever be greedy. Observe 15 minutes. Why? Because we're already starting the markets after a two-day break. So you can never be very greedy. Markets will give you what is in your destiny, but don't be greedy. You might not, you might not be able to find the bottom of the day, but that does not matter. All matters is, are you able to make some money of it? So if you're opening in this 850, 870 kind of range, and if the markets then kind of break out, you can always try to buy. And I would say at that point of time, I could be a buyer in small quantity. I could start to buy more in two scenarios. Number one, if 15,900 breaks on intraday, that's another place where I can start to increase my quantity. The other area where I could do so is if the market breaks out and comes down for a retest. That could happen. And that could be another area where I can try to add my quantity. But I will try to do this plan only and only if the markets are opening in that 20-point range. And if it doesn't mean if it opens there you buy, I want to see some kind of green candle coming in. 15 minutes, first 15 minutes, public is showing me I want to buy. If they give me a red candle, I can't buy. I hope that point is very, very clear. Always observe the first 15 minutes. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys right now. ठीक है, ये एक चीज, keep this point in mind. Aggressive buying will start above 15,900. That is required. If it happens in the first 1 hour, 2 hours, that is good. If it doesn't, maybe we can try to short. That I will tell you on Telegram. Make sure you're on the Telegram channel for live market updates. TFA Investments on Telegram, or the financial analyst, you can search. Secondly, what if the markets give you a good gap up? Let's say they open at 920, 60, 70 point gap up. It can happen, right? It can happen. I'm not saying not. Why? Because if you see the daily chart, on the daily chart, markets have given you a strong closing near the highs of the week. And you already must have seen my GAN episode 3 of the master course. Any strong closing on Friday or any good Thursday, Friday closings will give you good openings even on Monday. But if it is a very good opening, let us say at 9:20, that a big gap of opening, that is some place I would not be interested to buy. If you don't understand this, please go back to my GAN Master Course episode 3 video and watch that. Because what happens is, when people get a good gap up, they will try to book some profits. The reason is because you're hovering at the all-time highs and you have a good call writing at 16,000. So people will try to become cautious. Whoever has bought at lows, they will book some quantities, which will make it some kind of volatile day. It can even come down. So as per GAN in his books, he has said that if you have a good closing on Friday, you can get a good opening on Monday. Doesn't mean you become bearish. Monday could be a sideways volatile day, either at 1, 2 o'clock on the same day or on the next day. Again, the buying can start. If you get a good gap up opening, I would personally not buy at the top. But I'm again and again saying I would personally wait for the retest. As long as I'm above 15,900, then I would say I am comfortable. I'm again repeating, if I open a good gap up, markets try to come down, and they stay here. As long as I'm above 15,900, I would say we're comfortable. Maybe at 1 o'clock, 12:30, when that professional zone kicks in, I can then try to buy some intraday quantity. But I'm not going to buy the highs. That is all I'm trying to say. I hope the question is clear. It is also possible maybe on that entire day buying does not happen. Maybe the buying again happens on Tuesday. But for the buying again to happen, you have to sustain 15,900. What if the markets open gap up and you get a good bearish engulfing? Then again, you can't buy. Then again, bears have an upper hand. And they're again and again doing the same thing. They're again and again selling Madran also. Again and again. So you have to observe what happens in this region. Another area where I might not be interested to buy is if you open a big gap down somewhere here, 15,800, because then this force comes into play and this area can become a very, very strong resistance. Previous day highs, previous day closings then become very, very strong resistance, and you have a support at 15,750, 15,680. They become very, very good supports. So personally, I have given you some view of Nifty. Try to play it. Try to play it. Only trade what you understand. Don't trade the forecast. Trade the market. Bank Nifty is somewhat similar. I just got the COVID cases today. They're sitting at 46,000 today as compared to 50,000 yesterday. So things are being comfortable. See, Nifty Bank also very, very similar views. I'm again and again saying for Nifty to cross 15,900, for Nifty to reach a big fat 16,000 round number, you must need Bank Nifty to perform, or you must need IT, metal, something to perform. If everything is truncated, nothing is moving, if there's sideways, Reliance is down, Nifty will also come under pressure. So Bank Nifty is one index which has performed very well, and it can also continue to perform. Axis Bank, you can see, has just broken out. If I show you the charts of Axis Bank, you can see Axis Bank has just broken out. So that can be one of the guys which can help you stay higher. Even ICICI Bank looks strong, SBI looks strong, everything looks fine. If I talk about the intraday view of Bank Nifty, you already guys are sitting in PSU banks. PSU banks again can explode. I've already given you the entries. We are right in time. I'm again and again saying Nifty IT, Nifty PSU Bank, we're holding for long term, not for intraday views. If you want to do intraday, it's totally up to you. Similar scenario in Bank Nifty. Some kind of breakout has happened on Bank Nifty, but again, it's very vital where you open. If you're opening in this kind of range between 475, 300, that is considered okay. And if you get a good 15-minute breakout, 15-minute green candle, you can try to be bullish. You can try to buy some quantities. However, you can't be an aggressive buyer if you're opening with a good gap up, 200-point gap, 150-point gap up. Then I would not be so interested to buy. Same things which I discussed in Nifty will also apply here. If the rally happens again, see, it doesn't matter what happens or not. My personal view tells me if I open a big gap up, I am not going to be an aggressive buyer on the top. I will try to buy again here. Why? Because that's my probability area to buy. That's the area I would like to buy. What if tomorrow markets open gap up and they, close somewhere here, and then on Tuesday there's another rally? That could be one possibility. What if tomorrow markets open here and give you a bearish engulfing? Then again, I can't buy. 350 level is to be maintained. Like Nifty 15,900, even Bank Nifty 35,350 plus needs to be maintained. Then only you can start to be aggressive buyer. If it is not maintained, again the same story of the range starts. Also, please don't be so excited. We always have the rule of 2 closings. You must have got 1 closing above. The last price traded was 327. So the average was higher. But again, you need closing above that to be an aggressive buyer. I hope you understand the point. What if markets open gap up? I will not buy. But let's say if the market opens gap down for some reason, again, no one knows. Anything can happen in the markets. We're always a slave to the markets. Then you can see this trend line gets broken. And then what happens is this area, the closing, the highs, they become a strong resistance. Then I cannot buy tomorrow. Maybe then I will try to buy on Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe I can go back to my sell on rise stars. Why? Because then the markets have to again build up here and then they have to give a move. Then I will not trade this single short movement. I personally will not do that. This is the entire view I have on Nifty, I have on Bank Nifty. The other indices you can always try to correlate. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please like, please comment, please share. Let's try to reach more people. Always spread love. Do not spread hate. And love also all, guys. Hope you had a good time. I'll see you tomorrow around 8 o'clock in the evening. And have a good night. Thank you so much.